Xtalks is the industry leader in connecting life science, food, healthcare, and medical device professionals. The Xtalks Life Science podcast features insightful conversations with industry experts about all things pharma, biotech, and more.
Hello and welcome to the Xtalks Life Science Podcast. I'm Ayesha Rashid, Senior Life Science Journalist at Xtalks.com, and this week I'm delighted to introduce a special guest on the show. We have with us today Moreno Perugini, who is the President of Active and Medical Nutrition US and President of Global Pharmaceutical Therapies at Nestlé Health Science US. As president of Global Pharmaceutical Therapies, Moreno and his team actively shape the healthcare system through innovative approaches and a strong commitment to delivering pharmaceutical products with a human-centered focus. Throughout his career spanning over 2 decades, Moreno has held leadership positions at pharmaceutical companies like AbbVie and Novartis. Notably, he has been instrumental in bringing multiple pharmaceutical technologies to market across different therapeutic areas. To learn more about the work Moreno is leading at Nestlé Health Science, which includes treatments for GI conditions and gut health, let's turn to him now. Thank you so much for being on the show, Moreno.
Ayesha, thank you for the invitation. Looking forward to chat today.
Likewise. And so this is really exciting because we know Nestle as a household name, for all of its various household products, food products and all of that. But I'm really excited to learn about Nestle Health Science and what its mission is and how it integrates with the broader goals of Nestle. So could you tell us a bit more about that?
Very good starting question. And I receive it from time to time because indeed Nestle is known for a lot of other brands, but not necessarily yet that much for the pharma portfolio. So as you said, Nestle mission has been good food, good life for over 150 years. And when Nestle Health Science was established 11 years ago, 12 years ago, our motto transformed into empowering healthier lives through nutrition. In Nestle Health Science, we harmonize prevention and evidence-based treatments to really fuel the future of wellness. Every product is grounded in scientific excellence, unwavering integrity, and we just want to make a good impact on patients' health. We believe that there are no boundaries in driving forward scientific expertise with innovation when it comes to addressing disease state as well as just maintaining wellness. So if you like, managing disease and wellness, they merge. They do not collide. And that is why our portfolio, maybe later on I will have a chance to describe more, really spans across a pretty broad array of disease states or a wellness status from acute illness requiring tube feeding for severe disease to just people that are trying to fill a nutritional gap with vitamin and supplements. And we approach both those two extremes with the same integrity and scientific approach. This has been a fantastic journey so far.
It indeed sounds like a fantastic journey so far. And so how you mentioned really covering the spectrum of health and wellness through to pathology and disease, which is very, very important and very fascinating. And so what are some of the key areas of focus that you're working in? Indications wise and also general health and wellness and fitness. So what kind of areas are the focus at Nestlé Health Science?
The spectrum of therapeutic area, using some of the terminology, I guess, that we see, it's pretty broad, right? Within disease state and the pharmaceutical, our key focus is really in the gastrointestinal space. When we move out of the pharmaceutical, we move more to the medical nutrition, we play into, or we have solutions into the gastrointestinal, into the rare disease space, into oncology, and the broader nutrition. And as we move forward towards more the consumer care approach, we have different line of solutions, including but not limited to high protein shakes for patients that are trying to live longer and better, as well as vitamin and supplements. But GI remains for sure one of the cornerstone that we have been building Nestlé Health Science around.
And so how is the company really honing in and addressing GI and gut health, especially today? You hear about so many people suffering from GI disorders and conditions. And so what is, the core importance of GI health for overall health and wellness, and what are some of the specific approaches on the pharmaceutical end and also on the health and wellness end that Nestle is tackling and addressing?
Totally. And GI being such a core for us, right? Because again, coming from Nestle, that is historically 150 years ago, and partly also today, and very proudly, a food company, a nutrition company. Nutrition needs to be digested, drugs as well, as a matter of fact. So the realities that are absorbed, the reality is that GI, it's a key component of what we deal with. I'm very happy to showcase to you, as they come to mind, some examples of technologies and approaches to what we mean, right? So if we look at the GI space, I can give you the example of IBGuard. IBGuard is a daily supplement with a patented technology of ultra-purified peppermint oil, is the number one recommended GI product for abdominal comfort. So what happens is that we promote that to doctors as well as online, and patients go to that whenever they need. And again, in some cases, the doctor recommended it. In some other cases, it just, as you said, we all experience some GI symptoms here and there, and we look for the right solution, regardless is being prescribed. As we still remain into the GI space in the consumer care, we do have a very strong, well-established, since more than 40 years, as a matter of fact, portfolio of high-quality vitamin and supplement. It's under the brand name of Pure, P-U-R-E. And that is a portfolio of more than 400 SKUs. That I guess start triggering, if you like, Ayesha, a bit of the discussion on GI. It's one, when you think about the books, in the reality, my GI is very different than your GI because we are different, because we are wired differently. And might well be triggered by a lot of different things beyond just a disease state. So our Pure portfolio aims at really delivering tailored solution, and maybe later on I will have a chance to tell you what does it mean to tailor for us solutions and why you need to have then 400 SKUs. Moving towards more the medical nutrition space, this is regulated in the US under the FDA chapter in between food and pharma, if you like. We have a product or a family of product under the brand of Peptamen. Peptamen is a well-established tube feeding formula that is really specialized enteral nutrition to support the absorption and tolerance in individuals with GI disorders, as a matter of fact. And there we continue expanding the portfolio. And then in the pharma side, going back to the beginning of your question, we have currently two products. One that we acquired from Allergan called Zenpep, Z-E-N-P-E-P. It's a pancreatic enzyme replacement therapy, has been around for some years, very well established. And then VOWST, V-O-W-S-T. I just spell it out because I do come with an accent. And that is the first oral microbiome technology indicated as June last year, May last year, for prevention of recurrences in recurrent Clostridium difficile. So as you can see, we really portray and cater to the patients, consumers, and HCPs, to the broader healthcare ecosystem, a broad array of solutions depending on which life stage and what you're looking for.
Indeed. And I remember covering the approval of VOWST last year, which was very exciting because C. difficile infections are known to be, recurrent C. difficile infections are very difficult to treat. And so this is potentially a game changer. So could you tell us a bit about the approval and then also about the reception from healthcare providers and patients alike?
Very happy to articulate what we learned in the last 12 months, 13 months. And the word that come to mind whenever you were trying to describe, how painful and how difficult is to treat recurrence. It's a mean disease, not that there is happy disease, as a matter of fact. But the reality is that as we were approaching the launch, and I've been so lucky to work on this product from 2016. As a matter of fact, we entered a partnership with Series Pharmaceutical that has developed this product in December 2016. And since then, we have been partnered with them through a bumpy road, as always, for clinical studies, but we have been also celebrating as it came to approval successfully in May of 2023. High unmet need, in between 20,000 and 30,000 casualties each year. As you said, some people might not know what it's about. When you start asking, unfortunately, in your broader circle of friends and family, you hear about grandpa having had that, and or other younger people. We know that the data are saying to us that younger and younger people are getting it, and no more in the hospital setting. Now it's actually mainly outpatient setting. As a matter of fact, you have it, you take the antibiotic, everything seems to be gone, and 2 weeks later you keep on having the symptoms, and there you start this vicious circle, vicious indeed, on you need to go for another round of antibiotic, but the likelihood of having a recurrence double and goes up and up and up until you are just out of options. So it's really a terrible disease, and we have been very proud that the product launched last year. And so far, Ayesha, I'm very proud to tell you that what we saw is that the unmet need is very well understood out there. When you talk to doctors, not only to top key opinion leaders that see tons of cases, because again, there are referral centers, but also when you talk to a GP out there that is just seeing a few cases each year, he or she will tell you, oh yes, I know, there is a lady that I have in mind, that poor lady has been through this already 7 rounds of antibiotics just in the last year, and I'm concerned that she's going to die. So the ability to bring to market the first oral microbiome technology with such a strong efficacy has been really an honor for us. Up to date, Ayesha, we saw more than 6,000 patients in the US enrolled on the program, and more than 4,500 already on therapy. This has been through 2,400 healthcare professionals across different specialties, and a big chunk of those has prescribed to more than one patient, and we are counting. Again, we have a big expectation, and there is really the possibility of making an impact and potentially changing people's life.
Indeed, definitely a lot of potential there with this drug, and like you said, high unmet needs. So definitely congratulations to you and your whole team on VOWST. And in terms of taking a look at some of the other innovations, like you mentioned, it's about the technologies as well. So we know that advances in technologies is what drive essentially drug discovery today. So having those innovations in technology, I think you mentioned that. And what are some of those innovations that are driving drug development today at Nestle? And I guess from the perspective of GI health products and pharmaceuticals.
Particularly focusing on the GI space, that, as I said, it's one of our area, but for sure an important one, and historically has been an important one where we feel strong presence and investment. I can give you an example of flavor what we're looking at both on the pharmaceutical side and again expanding beyond that, because that's what we do here. Really looking at us as human beings, right, holistically, and not just as we are a disease state and an organ to treat, because that's part of us, but there is more than that to us. So going back to your question, for instance, on Zempepp in general, the class of the pancreatic enzyme replacement therapies has been a kind of stagnant, if you allow me to say, with not that much innovation in the last 10 years. We feel very proud to have launched 5 months ago a new format, a new SKU for our Zempepp that has 50% more lipase of any other marketed capsule for EPI in the US. Now, it's not just a matter of giving more lipase, it's really actually simplifying the patient's life, because they will not have to swallow 30 capsules, 40 capsules in some cases. It's really making their life easier, be more social, and potentially on the medical side, more adherence, as you know, as well as helping doctors having more patients on therapy when it's needed, because the issue is, you know, the way it is. I don't want to reopen the conversation historical on adherence, but that's a big deal, because we all are human beings, and when it comes to swallowing and taking pills throughout the day and too many, that plays a role in the outcome. For VOWST, we are looking at this exciting platform from 2 angles. One, playing good worldwide citizens is what is the next market where we think that VOWST should be launched in. And again, the entire world, there is no one day that goes without some markets calling me, some other countries calling me and say, is there a way where we can have it in our market? It's heavily regulated, but we're looking at geo expansion to look at other geographies. And then within the US, I really believe that we're looking at it from two angles. One is there additional evidence that will make it more resonating or further exploring the indication in Clostridium difficile? But as you might know, Ayesha, and as some folks dealing with microbiome know, there is today a lot of hypotheses and promising data on the impact of microbiome for a lot of other chronic diseases. As a matter of fact, you read data on diabetes, read data on weight management. I really believe if you Google it, you can really find almost
everything.
Totally. Right. So we are looking at that as well. And again, we are getting there in terms of which is going to be the way we prioritize. In terms of the GI space beyond the pharmaceutical portfolio, we are continuing expanding our medical nutrition portfolio by adding more SKUs and new innovation to a brand called Complete, spelled as Complete as EAT, which is our medical nutrition product with real food, plant-based, organic, real recognizable ingredients, no artificial colors. Again, we expand our offering to meet doctors' recommendation in this case, but also to meet consumer preference because the two things needs to get together. And then last but not least, on the consumer care, we are looking at a specific component in GI for women's health, which supplements and vitamin and what will be, as well as the role of GI within longevity. So we are very excited on being able to tap into a lot of this cross-functional expertise and not to be relegated to one cookie cutter, if it makes sense, shape of it. It has only to be one type of technology.
I really like that, where you have that holistic approach, and then so you're covering again, like I mentioned this, and you mentioned the spectrum from medical nutrition through to pharmaceuticals used in medical practice and in healthcare, and so what and the medical nutrition, all of the products are essentially driven by science. And so I think having that, what is sort of Nestlé Health Science's approach in sort of really looking at the science, even for its medical and nutrition products? Because I think in this space, in the health and wellness space, what we kind of see a lot is it's hard to know, for consumers to know, they're bombarded with all of these products almost daily from so many different companies. And so people just don't know what or who to trust. And so how does Nestlé Health Science bring that sense of trust to the consumer? I think that's really important. And for that to be driven by science. So what's the approach behind your medical nutrition products in that sense?
You are absolutely right. At least I really believe that. I agree on your comment on there is so much confusion out there in this era where everything is so fast. We all always catching up with the last news, and you have 30 seconds to understand that. Actually, it's even beyond that. You will hear doctors telling you, and I know for our job, we talk to a lot of them. Patients come to me already self-diagnosed, and then it's more the time to help them understanding what's the reality behind than anything else. So I believe there is a role for us to really rebalance that decision making, helping doctors do what they started for 10 years and not bypassing doctors. So going back to your question, in Nestlé Health Science, everything we do is deep rooted in strong science. We don't cut corners. We want to go fast, but we also understand that science comes with rigor, investment, and trial and fail if it happens, and we take it and we own it. That is what science means, capital S. I also believe, Ayesha, this is what really sets Nestlé Health Science apart from the other broader community in the wellness and also on the medicine, if you allow me to say. We have a broad portfolio. We have such a strong technical expertise, not only in terms of development, but also in manufacturing. The example of the 60K without having a huge capsule, it's a key component of what we can do here because we know how to manufacture and how to make it palatable in the right way for the consumer. Our go-to-market approach, looking at the broader portfolio, and once again, the science credibility is what we believe. I spent, before joining Nestle, as you were saying at the beginning so nicely, and thank you for that, the first 20 years of my career in pharma, and I'm myself a R&D guy, and that's why every day is so exciting here, because instead of seeing my interest of doing science limited, I see it accelerated because I can look at science for what it is, not just medical starting and finishing, but broader and then getting to the medical piece, which is what we are, which is what we are. So again, it's has been an exciting journey. And indeed, if I look at also how much we invest, how many people in our teams are dedicated to science, I'm very proud to tell you that it's science with capital S.
I love that. And I think Nestle Health Science is so fantastically positioned. Again, being kind of that bridge between medical nutrition and, of course, the expertise in food, and then bringing that through to pharmaceuticals in the GI space. I think it's just a perfect marriage there that you have. And it's very exciting. And so, what other products are in the GI pipeline that you can maybe talk to us about after Voust and some of the others that you mentioned?
So we have been exploring different innovation in the DGI space. I would say more in general, what we're trying to understand is what else seems to be resonating for the world out there beyond other disease states. I already spoke for VOWS potentially being for other indications or other geographies. For ZAMPEP, we have been indeed understanding the complexity of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency at this disease state and really raising awareness. EPI, sorry for using acronyms, it's always secondary to other diseases. Most of people do not know that having diabetes increase your likelihood of having API and therefore having some issues. And you know how unfortunately prevalent is diabetes for our fellow Americans and everywhere in the world. From a broader point of view, we are looking as well as what other intervention we should look for the gut microbiome. Nestle has been investing, Ayesha, in microbiome since early 1990s, and not necessarily on the drug side, but microbiome is part of what sits out there and plays an important role in digesting and dealing with your food. So we are looking at that component from our consumer care as well medical nutrition. In terms of more the nutritional space, we are heavily involved in prebiotics, postbiotics. You know that the sugar reduction play a very important role because plays a role on the inflammation triggering, and as a consequence of that has an impact on the GI component, and then more in general on the functional ingredients. And then devices and diagnostics. We already start making some investment to see what else can we learn, but also what can we bring to market to help consumers to get better. I don't want to make it too personal. I do have some devices on me right now. Most likely you have some devices on you just telling you, hey, your heartbeat is going up or down, or maybe you didn't do your 10,000 steps today. It's like, I'm sure you did it. But you know what I mean? This is each and any of us, as a matter of fact. And it is our daily routine. So we're really trying to harvest that opportunity as well.
And you mentioned consumers and the consumer market. What are some of the key trends that you're seeing? And like you said, it's just so fast paced these days. But what are some of the key consumer trends you're seeing in the GI health sector in particular? And how is Nestle Health Science working to address them?
I really believe that if we move out of some of the hot words and marketing campaigns, functional ingredients is really what we do daily at this point in time. Again, I still remember I'm an Italian guy, born and raised, and my mom, my parents, 78 and 81, they said to me, yes, honey, we're trying to eat less carbs. And I'm saying, what is happening? These are two Italian guys eating less carbs, mom. What is happening? But made it to them. Do you see what I mean? It's a reality.
Right.
So that food and ingredients are beyond just the nutritional value. I think it's accepted. It's a unique opportunity for us to reverse a horrible trend we have in this country that is about obesity. And I also believe, without getting too political on this, Ayesha, of not just hoping on drugs to address something maybe you can address before getting there. So we're going to be looking at GLP-1 companion. We're going to be looking at functional ingredients. I also believe that a key component that is important for us is the concept of personalization. As I said to you,
Yes, you mentioned. Yeah.
our gut is different, and speaks our difference, as a matter of fact, our genetic difference. We are deeply committed in bringing that personalization. And once again, if you allow me to articulate, drugs are so heavily regulated that to personalize a drug usage is more difficult than what you can do with other intervention. The example that I was bringing you earlier on VMHS, on the vitamin and supplements pure portfolio, we launched years ago when it was not even a cool word, pure genomics. So we are able to tell you with your genetic testing, which is going to be most likely what you need. And then we just launched a few months ago a tool that really enabled to tailor the doctor recommendation towards their consumer. We don't want to substitute ourselves to doctors. We think that our job is to make it closer. And we don't want to confuse consumers as well, because the reality is that medicine is complex. And if people study 10 years, it's for a good reason. So with Pure Insights, what we do, we are able to personalize the decision-making of the doctors towards their consumers, and we are very proud to gather a broader portfolio for them to choose from and to make it easily available for them. Again, it's exciting. I hope that the energy comes through. I feel energized every day, and I'm learning every day, which is pretty unusual after 25 years, but I'm very happy to.
That's wonderful. It's all about lifelong learning, right? That brings about the innovations. And so we can never and should never stop learning. So and I love your
being
enthusiasm.
Surprised and continue being surprised. Good innovation comes from everywhere, And that's actually, I think, talking about generation, especially in medicine, there is a lot of, it all comes through years and years of experience and learning. Don't get me wrong, that is true. But the way you make things closer to human beings can also come from a 15-year-old just coming with an idea.
Absolutely.
And then, just finding a way with wearables, as we were saying earlier, to make it available for there. Again, the limit is the sky, and I'm really excited of being able to harvest within my fellow colleagues within Nestlé Health Science these opportunities.
That's amazing. And it's all about those connections and the learnings that you take from those connections. Absolutely. And so speaking about connections, and could you tell us about some of the partnerships or collaborations that you're currently engaged in to advance the GI Health division at Nestle? Because again, it's a concerted effort between so many different stakeholders. And I think we're seeing that a lot in the pharma space in general, where you see a lot of cross collaborations between public, private, academic, and patients as well as being key stakeholders, and everyone, all of these partners being brought to the table. And so what types of initiatives on that front are happening at Nestlé Health Science?
Very happy to share, and actually also big numbers, right? Because we have been, I joined Nestlé Health Science in 2015, so 10 years, shy of 10 years, and in 10 years we had more than 15 collaborations. And to be clear, this has been partnership, acquisitions, it's not just investment in research. I totally agree with you. It's so encouraging and healthy to see that we all are taking our accountability in our health, and we are no more in a world where we expect pharmaceutical to be developed by pharmaceutical companies and then push it through and then having this dance of our doctors are going to use it. I really believe that that's the good part of the healthcare ecosystem in which everyone sits at the table and say, guys, this is for everyone, because we are patients and we are consumers and we are parents and we all want to be taken care of in the right way. So we had several collaborations. We continue looking at how can we leapfrog our innovations. As I said to you, why Nestlé Health Science is so cool, in my opinion, if you allow me to use this adjective, is we are not relegated to one specific type of technology. It's not just a pharmaceutical company that can do investment in research and can buy or be bought. We are also very happy to tap into and think outside the box, or tap into consumer care or other technologies or other trends, or as you said, talking to TikTokers or influencers just because they have their idea and they can create the right level of momentum. So indeed, we are exploring all of that times 3, right? For each of the chapters that we're seeing across all the different disease states. We just announced literally, I guess, last month that we are completing the acquisition of the rights of VOWST. Again, we made this announcement and we're going to be, if everything lines up now just with the lawyers, but if everything lines up in the right way, in a few weeks, we're going to have the full rights about the product and we're going to continue looking at scouting the market and looking at how can we make an impact out there for the different consumers. And I also want to take this opportunity to invite everyone there that is coming with a good idea, talk to us. We are very happy. We're happy to put our expertise, our smiles, and our beliefs in partnering and further evolving. We have a unique opportunity. We can really push forward the barrier of what healthcare and wellness means. Let's do it together.
That's amazing. And for such a massive company like Nestlé Health Science, I think, anyone out there would love to partner with you, again, just for what the company represents and what it's doing in this particular field now. So that's really amazing. And I always kind of like to end off by asking this question, especially for leaders like yourself that have been in the field for many, many years. It's just fascinating to me because you've, been in the space for a couple of decades. And so how have you seen things evolve in your time from when you first started in the pharmaceutical industry through to now? And where do you see things going in the next 5 to 10 years? And how do you think Nestle is positioned to really help drive those innovations?
I'm aging myself now. So let me tell you for the first part of your question of how do I have seen things evolving? I remember when I started working in the pharmaceutical industry more than 20 years ago, and it was a pretty strong approach of pharmaceutical develops. You have a medical background, you interact with doctors, you provide evidence, and then you have that conversation. And then the healthcare system got more complicated because you have more and more PBMs, the healthcare system. So things got more in the ecosystem, more complex. I'm going to repeat myself in telling you, I'm so excited what I'm seeing today when you really see that there is more collaboration and partnership on the way you want to label it. And that is to me so exciting. I believe that the next big thing is realizing that each of any of us is an influencer. I personally believe that while we want to think about, oh yes, there is influencer as a job and some people are influencers, each avenue does it. Doctors are influencers, and not just because some doctors, and rightly so, they go on social media and they provide their expertise. They started ages to do that. Why they shouldn't do it? And why should I believe less a doctor than someone else? You see what I mean? That's someone else. So I like it, but more in general, we are now in a world where everyone is an influencer, and that network is going to be key to really bring us to the next level and harvest. In terms of challenges that I see for Nestlé Health Science, nothing really special beyond whenever you are a different tier of something, some stuff is going to go well and some other stuff is going to be less successful. Nothing to cry upon, but rather let's fail fast and learn fast and move to the next. The issue is not to fear to fail. We don't take shortcuts, I said to you, on our consumers, on our patients, on regulations, but we are happy to pilot new way to get there. On the positive side, I really believe that we are set up in a unique way because we have the chance to tap in such a broad array of expertise from our consumer care team and our folks that are able to manage with artificial intelligence 3 billion data each day and telling us what is the word is making a difference. I was looking at that today is the second day of Prime Day, right? Big day on Amazon. How much are we learning? What people are looking for? Is there any learning on what's happening? And we have that data because we leverage our consumer portfolio, telling us of not what people have as a disease, but for sure what they experience as a symptom. So once again, I believe that the limit is the sky, and we're really uniquely positioned to really harvest what is coming. I envision a future, at least I want to believe in a future, where in the next year we're going to see innovation coming from a lot of different angles, and where for sure AI is going to play an important role, but also be ready to think differently at a different pace. HCP are going to be more and more influencers, opinion makers, beyond just being key opinion leader. They do a lot of very important and trustworthy scientific publications. They're going to be people that are going to be able to translate that sometimes are too difficult science for the less educated, medically educated public to what really matters for them and take it to the next level. Look, in the end, Aisha, the world is changing and we just want to be a good trigger of that positive change can be. And I'm very excited to be in this position.
Well, Moreno, thank you so much for leading the work that you're leading and really being at the helm of innovation in this space. And so thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you so much for your time today, for sharing all of that you do.
Very welcome. Happy to take any additional point you're going to see in the next days and to hear more. I'm a big fan of you and your work, guys. And again, look forward to bringing more ideas.
Thank you so much, Moreno. That means a lot coming from you. So really looking forward to having you back on and to learning about what's going to be coming next from Nestlé Health Science. And we'll be closely following your work indeed.
Likewise on my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's the end of this episode of the Xtalks Life Science Podcast. If you liked today's show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.
To join the Xtalks community, visit xtalks.com and register for exclusive access to curated content like live webinars, news articles, and educational videos. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers sharing them and should not be taken as professional advice, nor do they necessarily reflect the policy or position of Honeycomb Worldwide. For further information, email us at podcast@xtalks.com.